Welcome back to TBC You and Me. This is the third episode of our Bhagavad Gita series, where we are diving into shlokas 11 to 15 of Chapter 2 Sankhya Yoga, the Yoga of Knowledge. In these verses, Lord Krishna begins to unravel the truth of the self and the impermanence of the body, guiding Arjuna towards a clearer understanding of life and death. These teachings offer profound lessons that we can apply in our day-to-day lives, helping us navigate challenges, loss, and uncertainty with wisdom and peace. Shloka 11, Chapter 2, Verse 11. The blessed Lord said, "While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead." In this verse, Krishna gently chastises Arjuna for mourning over the inevitable. Arjuna, despite being a warrior and a prince, is grieving the death of his loved ones in the upcoming battle. Krishna tells him that true wisdom lies in understanding that life and death are part of the same cycle, and that mourning over the inevitable is not the path of knowledge. In our daily lives, we often find ourselves grieving over things we can't control, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a missed opportunity, or even smaller disappointments. This verse teaches us to cultivate detachment from outcomes and understand the transient nature of life. Accepting that change and loss are inevitable can free us from unnecessary suffering. This lesson can be applied through mindfulness and acceptance practices. When faced with loss, instead of dwelling on the pain, we can acknowledge it, allow ourselves to grieve, and then move forward, knowing that life is a continuous cycle of birth, growth, and transformation. Meditation and journaling are tools that can help us build this mindset of acceptance and resilience. I have been saying this from a very long time that please start mindfulness practices, start meditating, and journaling is something that will truly change your life. So try it. Shloka 12, Chapter 2, Verse 12. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Here Krishna explains the eternal nature of the soul. He emphasizes that the soul is immortal and beyond the reach of time. While the body is temporary and subject to decay, the soul transcends birth and death, existing eternally. In the modern world, we often identify ourselves with our physical bodies or our achievements or our social status. This verse reminds us that who we are goes far beyond these temporary identities. Our essence, our soul, remains unchanged despite the ups and downs of life. This teaching encourages us to detach from materialistic concerns and focus on nurturing our inner self. Instead of getting caught up in the pursuit of external validation, we should invest time in spiritual practices, self-reflection, and personal growth. In practical terms, this might mean finding a balance between work, relationships, and self-care. Making time for activities that nourish the soul such as yoga, meditation, or even creative expression. Shloka 13, Chapter 2, Verse 13. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Krishna uses the analogy of the body's natural progression from childhood to old age to illustrate the journey of the soul. Just as the body changes over time, the soul too transitions from one body to another. Those who are wise understand this process and do not fear death or change. In today's society, we often fear aging and death, clinging to youth and material success as markers of value. This shloka encourages us to embrace change, both physical and emotional, and understand that transformation is a natural part of life. Rather than fearing aging or loss, we can adopt a mindset of growth and evolution. Whether it's adapting to changes in our careers, relationships, or personal lives, we can find peace by accepting these transitions. practicing gratitude for the present moment and viewing challenges as opportunities for growth, it can really help us embrace the constant flow of life. Shloka 14, chapter 2, verse 14. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Krishna compares the dualities of life, happiness and sorrow, success and failure, pleasure and pain, to the changing of the seasons. Just as winter and summer come and go, so too do moments of joy and despair. These feelings arise from our sensory experiences, and a wise person learns to tolerate them without being swayed. We live in a world that glorifies happiness and success while shunning pain and failure. This shloka teaches us that both are inevitable and temporary. By accepting that life is full of ups and downs, we can cultivate emotional resilience and find inner peace regardless of external circumstances. In practical terms, this means not letting our emotions dictate our actions. Whether we are experiencing a high moment of joy or a low moment of grief, we can remain grounded by practicing mindfulness and detachment. Yoga, breathing exercises, and mindful awareness can help us maintain equanimity in the face of life's inevitable fluctuations, because no matter what you do, there will be fluctuations, there will be ups and downs, right? Shloka 15, chapter 2, verse 15. O best among men, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Krishna concludes this section by explaining that the person who remains undisturbed by the dualities of life, who doesn't let happiness or sorrow sway them, is on the path to liberation, also called moksha. Such a person has transcended the attachments of the material world and can achieve true peace. In the modern world, we often equate happiness with success and distress with failure, but Krishna's teachings show us that true peace comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from learning to remain steady amidst it. Emotional stability, rather than chasing fleeting moments of pleasure, leads to lasting fulfillment. This shloka teaches us the value of emotional intelligence and stability. We can practice this by cultivating a non-reactive mind, one that doesn't cling to positive experiences or run from negative ones. This might involve regular mindfulness practice, self-awareness exercises, and learning to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively to life's challenges. Think about it. In our day-to-day life, we react very quickly, and this is not a good thing. Think about it yourself. Do you do that? When do you do that? And journaling will really help you to get around this impulsive reactions. Conclusion is, in this episode, we explored shlokas 11 to 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna begins to unravel the truth of the soul, the impermanence of the body, and the dualities of life. These teachings remind us that the soul is eternal and life's challenges, whether it's grief, loss, or change, are temporary. By cultivating wisdom, emotional resilience, and detachment, we can navigate life's ups and downs with grace and find lasting peace. The key takeaway from these verses is the importance of embracing change, practicing mindfulness, and focusing on inner growth rather than external outcomes. As we move through life, let us remember that happiness and sorrow, success and failure are all part of the same journey, and by accepting both, we find true liberation. Keep tuned in. Thank you for listening to TBC You and Me, episode 3 of Bhagavad Gita series. And until next time, keep practicing and focusing on your inner self.